Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Caribbean Vegan Foodie. I am Cam Campbell, an island girl living in the cold. But today we're gonna warm it up with some curry pumpkin with green beans and okra. But before we get into the video, please remember to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, and tell another friend too. Let's go! We're going to get started with the star of this dish. The pumpkin, or it's more like a squash. I've been using buttercup squash to replace the pumpkin in Jamaican or Caribbean dishes ever since I moved to Canada. Yes, I can get Jamaican pumpkin here, but it tends to be too watery or lack the flavor that I'm looking for. But if you're in the Caribbean, go ahead and use the Caribbean pumpkin. And if you are outside the Caribbean and can get great quality Caribbean pumpkin, you can use it. But this is a great replacement. First, preheat the oven to 400 degrees, and then we're gonna half our pumpkin and then cut it up in smaller pieces, about 4 pieces or even 5 or 6. It's up to you. And I'm gonna scrape out the seeds from the inside, and we're gonna sprinkle it with some salt and some oil. And look at it, it's so rich. I like when I cut into a nice pumpkin, it have this nice rich color, because I know it's going to taste good. And I know I've been referring to this squash as a pumpkin, and it's something that I tend to do because I use it to replace pumpkin in Caribbean dishes, and I love it so much. I tend to call it a pumpkin, but this is a squash. Please bear with me. So after we scrape out the inside, we're going to sprinkle it with salt and some oil. I'm using olive oil, but you can use whatever oil you like. And then we're going to roast it until it's almost tender for about 20 to 30 minutes. Now that the pumpkin squash is roast and cool enough to handle, we're going to carefully remove the skin, and we're going to roughly cut it into small cubes. And we're going to also reserve about 1 cup of that pumpkin that we're going to use to blend up with some coconut milk to create a nice rich sauce. Here are the other ingredients that you will need for this dish. So everything has been washed and prepped while the pumpkin squash was being roasted. So we have some green beans, the squash that has been roasted earlier in prep, and we have some onions that I sliced, but you can always cut them, chop them, whichever way you preferred. And we have some red and green bell peppers and some okras, which are optional. You can always leave it out if you're not a fan. And we have some carrot and thyme. And we have some coconut milk and some freshly grated ginger, but you can always replace this with some ground ginger if that's all you have. And we have loads of garlic. I love garlic, so I use a lot, but you always can use less. And I have a little piece of scotch bonnet pepper just for a little kick, not too spicy, but a lot of flavor. You can always replace this with some black pepper. And I have some allspice that I'm going to grind up later. So this is also called pimento in the Caribbean. And we have our 1 cup of squash that we reserved that we're going to blend up with the coconut milk to create a nice rich sauce. And I'm using the Ivory brand curry, so you can use whatever Caribbean curry you like. So now we're going to add about 1 cup of our reserved squash to a blender with the coconut milk, and we're going to blend it up so that we can create a nice sauce for our curry. Let's get cooking. So we're gonna add some oil to our pot, and I'm using coconut oil, but you can use whatever oil that you have available. And now we're going to add in our onions, and we're gonna let them saute for a couple minutes until they're nice and translucent or nice and soft. Now we're gonna add in our curry powder for it to burn. So we're going to just scoop those onions to the side, and then we're going to add in the curry so that it could fry for about a minute. So I'm using a Jamaican curry, but you can use your favorite Caribbean curry powder that you have available. So remember that different curry will give you a different taste depending on the region where that curry is from. So different spices that are common in that country is used in that curry to give it a different flavor. But you know, curry, all curry tastes good, so it's up to you which curry powder you use. After sauteing your onions and your curry for bits, we're going to add in the carrots and the green beans because these take a little time to cook. And we're going to also add in our thyme and some salt to taste. This is up to you, the amount that you're going to put in. So remember to taste and adjust. And we're going to add in our garlic. And you know I'm using a whole heap of garlic, but you can use less. And the pimento berries that I already grind up. And we're going to also add in the ginger and a little piece of scotch bonnet pepper that I have here, but you can always add some black pepper or some cayenne pepper. It's up to you. Remember to taste and adjust. I also add about 2 tablespoons of water to help the veggies cook. So you can cover this and let it simmer for about 2 minutes until your vegetables are nice and tender. Now we're going to add in our bell pepper and our okra and also the nice pumpkin and coconut, squash. Make sure that we blend up earlier. We're going to add them in and we're going to let them simmer for about a minute or two. Personally, I do not like my bell pepper and my okra to be too soft, to be too tender. So I don't like to simmer it for too long, but this is again depending on how you like your veggies. If you want it to be softer, you can always simmer it for a longer time. Now it's time to add in the squash. You know, that thing I have been calling pumpkin. Yes, we're gonna add it in and we're gonna let it simmer for about 2 minutes. So your sauce is going to get thick at this point. If it's too thick, you can always add some coconut milk or some water to thin it out a bit. And remember to taste, and if it needs more salt, you can always add some more. I did not add a lot of salt to this, but I like it just like that. But you can always add more to taste, or more black pepper if you like, or more cayenne pepper if you like. So remember to taste. So the key to great Caribbean cooking is making it your own. There is no set rule or recipe when it comes to Caribbean cooking. Yeah, we cook from our heart and with love. So my advice is to you is when you're cooking Caribbean food is to let go, have fun, be free in the kitchen, taste, adjust, substitute, make it your own, and have fun. Look at this rich, flavorful, delicious pumpkin squash curry. This was so good. I had it with some wild brown and red rice mix and it was delicious with some plantain on the side, of course. I also had this leftover on its own and it was also delicious, and I also had it with a side of green salad and it was divine. I had it for like 4 days in a row and it was still so good. So I hope you try this recipe and tell me what you think down below. Thank you all for stopping by Caribbean Vegan Foodie. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and tell a friend and tell another friend too. Until next time, what good.